Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming today to Los Lomos, and we're at the community church here in Los Lomos, and thank you to the Los Lomos Community Church for allowing us to use their beautiful facility for this important press conference today. My name is Nick Pasculi. I'm the County Communications Director and Chief Public Information Officer, and the County of Monterey is truly thrilled to have our friends and partners with the United States Department of Agricultural Rural Development here today for this important presentation and announcement. We will allow for some questions afterwards, and as soon as we get finished hearing from the USDA representative Maria Gallegos Herrera, we will be there'll be a check presentation. You'll have time to take some photos and things of that nature, and if anybody would like to do any interviews after the press conference, please just let me know so I can get those lined up for you. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce a really great partner, a really amazing advocate, someone who really believes in what we're doing here in the County of Monterey and really saw this through to the end, and is Maria Gallegos Herrera with the United States Department of Agricultural Rural Development. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much, Nick, and good morning to everyone. I am so grateful to be here today to celebrate a significant investment in the community of Pajaro and surrounding areas. As was mentioned, my name is Maria Gallegos Herrera, and I am proud to serve the Biden-Harris administration as the California State Director for USDA Rural Development. At USDA Rural Development, our mission is to improve the economy and quality of life in rural America. And in rural California, that means supporting our agricultural communities and farm workers, which are the backbone of our state's agricultural economy and vital to its success. Under the leadership of President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Secretary Vilsack, USDA has been steadfast in our commitment to creating equitable access to our programs and services. And to further this goal, in 2022, we launched the Creating Opportunities for Rural Engagement effort here in California, which was really designed to ensure equitable access to our programs and services for communities of high need and in historically underserved areas by our agency. And we did so by conducting listening sessions and learning more about the needs of those communities and ways that we can partner with local leaders like the County of Monterey to bring in critical resources. We also know that in 2022, the community of Pajaro was devastated by the storms and floods. And given these challenges and the unique demographics of the community, being a community that with a large population of farm workers, we decided that we wanted to come out here to Pajaro in this area and figure out ways that we can help the residents improve their community. So today, it's a real honor and privilege to be back in this community to announce an important milestone, and that is the awarding of a $4,075,000 water disaster grant to support the Pajaro County Sanitation District. I want to say that this project represents the largest core investment in California to date. It is also the second largest water disaster investment in California and the third project funded through our calendar year 2022 water disaster funding. Access to clean and reliable water and wastewater systems is essential for the health and well-being of every community and the foundation for a strong rural economy. USDA regularly invests in these critical systems across California to protect public health and ensure long-term prosperity. Having witnessed firsthand the resilience and determination of Californians recovering from disasters, I'm especially proud of this investment that will help restore and upgrade essential water systems in Pajaro. It will also strengthen the community resilience for future disasters. This investment underscores the Biden-Harris administration's unwavering commitment to advancing equity, supporting disaster recovery, and building resilience in rural and tribal communities across America. In closing, I want to recognize and thank Supervisor Church, Supervisor Lopez, the Monterey County team, and our rural development staff at California, including our former Water and Environmental Programs Director, Esther de la Cruz, and Monica Deyes, for their leadership and dedication to making this project possible. Together as partners, we are helping rural communities thrive. So with that, I'd like to make it official and present the check to the County of Monterey. Thank you.
USDA on that side.
You guys here, huh?
Also, we can see the transition of the checks, right?
Okay.
Remarks in Spanish. Muy buenos días y gracias a todos por la oportunidad de estar aquí en esta comunidad. Mi nombre es María Gallegos Herrera y yo tengo el honor y privilegio de servir a la administración Biden-Harris como la directora estatal para USDA Rural Development. Ahora estamos aquí celebrando una inversión que se va a hacer a la comunidad de Pajaro por medio del condado de Monterey, que han sido unos buenos aliados con nosotros. Ahí esta inversión de más de 4 millones va a ayudar a restaurar el sistema y mejorar el sistema de las aguas residuales que sirven a la comunidad de Pajaro. Pajaro es una comunidad con una alta población de personas que trabajan en los campos agrícolas y sabemos que ellos son los que sostienen y contribuyen tanto para el éxito de la economía agricultura aquí en California. Como hija de padres que trabajaron en el campo inmigrante, es un orgullo poder ayudar a esta comunidad por medio de esta subvención. Este proyecto se fue realizado por el compromiso que tuvo el presidente Biden a comunidades pequeñas como Pájaros. Él estuvo muy comprometido desde el día primero para asegurar que nuestros recursos al nivel federal estén disponibles para las comunidades pequeñas y nos dio de tarea a nosotros como líderes de ir a esas comunidades y escuchar de los residentes qué son las necesidades y cómo es que podemos traer estos fondos. Nosotros escogimos a Pájaro como una de esas comunidades donde íbamos a tener estas sesiones por la población que vive allí, pero también por los impactos que ellos vieron en las lluvias del año 2022 y 2023. Por eso tuvimos una junta en julio del 2023 y es un gran privilegio regresar aquí a esta comunidad con fondos que van a mejorar su comunidad y ayudarlos no nomás a recuperarse de los impactos de esos desastres, pero también ayudarlos a que puedan enfrentar más mejor y con más resiliencia los desastres futuros. Este trabajo no se puede ser posible sin el liderazgo de los líderes locales y también de los líderes en la agencia de USDA Rural Development. Y es por eso que yo quiero darles mi gratitud por verse unido con nosotros para ayudar a esta comunidad. Gracias. I will now invite Supervisor Church to say a few remarks.
Thank you, Maria, and good morning to everybody. It's kind of a little brisk morning here a little bit, but I want to just begin by really thanking the USDA for this $4.1 million grant. It really provides some urgent and necessary funds for infrastructure support in what are really historically neglected and underserved communities of Pajaro and Las Lomas. These communities have approximately 6,000 residents who rely on the Pajaro County Sanitation District for their basic wastewater management needs. And this system plays a critical role in safeguarding public health and protection of the environment. But the reality is, the infrastructure is aging. It's struggling under the strain of time, severe weather, changes, as well as just a lack of past investment. The thing is to understand these communities have working people who just do not have the resources to fund the kind of infrastructure at this level that is needed. And this gives us an opportunity for this communities to be safeguarded in that way. These repairs are not just about fixing pipes, they're about building resilience, ensuring reliable service, and minimizing the long-term risks of catastrophic disasters from future climate disasters. This grant is not just an investment in infrastructure, it's an investment in equity. For Pajaro and Los Lomas are vibrant, hardworking communities, and they are integral to our agricultural economy. By modernizing their wastewater systems, we're not only improving public health and environmental incomes, we're also reaffirming that these communities are valued members of our county. This grant is a step towards equity, resilience, and a future where all communities can thrive. So, again, on behalf of the people of these communities, I want to really express my gratitude and thank to the USDA for this really essential grant and the great benefits that it's going to bring. And with that, I'm going to introduce our Chair of the Monterey County Board of Supervisors and South County Supervisor, Chris Lopez.
Good morning, everybody. One story I haven't often told is that when my dad came to the U.S., he traveled the country chasing the crops. And when they landed in California, they landed in Pajaro, right down by the train tracks. This community touches all of us. We've all seen the disaster that happened during the floods in 22 and 23, and a community that felt ignored. And didn't just feel ignored, there were reports that said, you're just not worth the investment. So I'm here today to say thank you. I want to thank Supervisor Church for his leadership when he stepped into the role. It was in the middle of disaster, and immediately he took it by the horns and has helped align funding like the ones we're staring at today. I want to thank Maria Gallegos Herrera, who's here today. I have traveled the state with Maria. We've been throughout the rural communities. It's not just words. We've been on the ground in Lassen, Modoc, Siskiyou, listening to communities, understanding what their needs are. I did that in my capacity as the chair of the Rural County Representatives of California, RCRC, but I can tell you that her commitment is real, as is the commitment of every member of her team, who I know put in the work to make this grant possible. And it takes partnership, much like she talked about. I want to thank Randy and your entire team, as well as our partners like the Wallace Group, who've made sure that what we need gets done. And because all too often, during a disaster, we're the loud voices who call and say, it's time, but the long-term investment isn't there. Maria, you've seen it through. On behalf of the Biden-Harris team and administration, you made sure that these dollars arrived in our community in a way that makes sure that as these improvements get made, those end costs don't end up on the shoulders of people who cannot afford them. We know that one way or another, the systems would have to be fixed. But when you don't have the money up front, you have to add interest on top, and that adds on to the bills, and over time, it piles up, right? And when there's not enough connections, as I've experienced in San Lucas, down in rural southern Monterey County, what ends up happening is the potential impact on a family's monthly bill goes through the roof. And so making this investment in this way, through the lens of equity, on a community like ours today, is truly impactful. And I want to thank you for leading that effort, for coming here and listening first, and then taking action on the lessons learned from those conversations. I want to thank you, Randy, and your team for prioritizing communities like Pajaro. And Supervisor Church, thank you for your leadership, for being here on the ground, listening and prioritizing these projects that, let's be honest, they're not the sexiest, right? Nobody's going to be like, ooh, we got a new sewer, that's hot. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about those basic infrastructure needs that we rely on every single day, but as Supervisor Church said, get ignored, right? Because it's not the thing that people see above ground. It's not the street lights. It's not sidewalks, which we also need and we're fighting together to bring. But these pieces are critical because when they break down, important disasters, disasters happen that have importance on every single member of the community, like the flooding that we experienced. So having this system in place is going to help preserve and create the resiliency that Supervisor Church spoke about. So I want to thank you all for being here today, for helping us spread the word about the importance of this project. And with that, I want to invite to the microphone Randy Ishii, the Director of Public Works, Facilities, and Parks for the County of Monterey.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Chair Lopez. I'm Randy Ishii, the Director of Public Works, Facilities, and Parks for Monterey County. Pajaro, Las Lomas, and Bay Farms. They are all communities within the Pajaro County Sanitation District, or PCSD. For years, it has not been possible for PCSD to fund much needed sewer improvements for the community. Moreover, the community has endured severe winter storms and their damages, including the recent 2023 winter storms and flooding, as stated by our previous speakers who have all experienced this. The grant helps to address these. The goals of this project are for much needed repairs and improvements to improve the wastewater infrastructure system capacity and resilience, to reduce long-term risks in future disasters, and to provide reliable service to the residents. Much of the grant will address gravity sewers here in Las Lomas and the main pump station that serves all of PCSD, which will benefit all of its residents. We cannot thank the USDA Rural Development staff enough for selecting us for this almost $4.1 million grant. We are ever and very grateful. I also thank the entire application team who worked so hard in acquiring this grant. And these include Enrique Saavedra, the Chief of Public Works, who oversees our Public Works operations, Tom Moss, the Senior Water Resource Hydrologist within Public Works, Benny Young, our Management Specialist and Past Director, and Kari Wagner, Principal at the Wallace Group. But we also extend our fullest thanks to the full Board of Supervisors of Monterey County for providing the support needed for this grant application, and the Pajaro residents for their patience and understanding as we found resources for them. Without them, this would not have been possible. We look forward to working with the USDA to make these critically needed improvements within the next 3 years in compliance with the grant. And this is just the beginning, because we will also continue applying for and finding grants for other needs, such as the PCSD sewer force main and other needs. With that, we thank you very much, and I hand the floor back to Mr. Nick Pasculi.
Muy buenos días, soy Maite Anaya, la analista de medios de comunicación para el Condado de Monterrey y estoy proporcionando traducción para Randy Ishii, el director de Obras Públicas, Instalaciones y Parques. Pajaro, Las Lomas y Bay Farms son comunidades dentro del Distrito de Servicios Sanitarios del Condado de Pajaro, conocido como PCSD por sus siglas en inglés. Por años, el PCSD no ha podido financiar las mejoras necesarias en el drenaje para la comunidad. Además, la comunidad ha padecido severas tormentas de invierno y sus daños, incluyendo las recientes tormentas de invierno e inundaciones del 2023. Esta subvención ayuda a abordar estos problemas. Las metas de este proyecto son realizar las reparaciones y mejoras necesarias para aumentar la capacidad y la resiliencia del sistema de infraestructura de aguas residuales, reducir los riesgos a largo plazo en futuros desastres y proporcionar un servicio confiable a los residentes. Gran parte de la subvención se destinará al drenaje por gravedad en las lomas y a la estación de bombeo principal que sirve a todo el PCSD, lo cual beneficiará a todos sus residentes. Estamos muy agradecidos al personal de desarrollo rural de USDA por seleccionarnos para esa subvención de $4.1 millones. También agradezco al equipo completo que ayudó con la solicitud e hizo un gran esfuerzo para obtener esa subvención. Ellos son Enrique Saavedra, jefe de Obras Públicas, Tom Moss, hidrólogo senior de Recursos Hídricos, Benny J. Young, especialista en gestión, Kari Wagner, principal en el Wallace Group, a nuestra Junta de Supervisores por su apoyo en esta solicitud de subvención, y más que nada a los residentes de Pájaro por su paciencia y comprensión mientras buscábamos recursos para ellos. Sin ellos, eso no habría sido posible. Esperamos trabajar con el USDA para hacer estas mejoras críticamente necesarias en los próximos 3 años, cumpliendo con los requisitos de la subvención. Esto es solo el comienzo, ya que también seguiremos solicitando y buscando subvenciones para otras necesidades, como la línea de drenaje del PCSD. Y ahora les cedo la palabra a Nick Pascual.
We thank you all very much for coming. If you'd like to do individual interviews, we can do that afterwards. And have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you to the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development. We really appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.